And along the route are many signs of the Mille Miglia. Viva Oscar, Viva the drivers, and Viva Alfa Romeo. And sometimes still faintly visible, Viva Nuvolare. On up north race the small cars. Most are going well, but some are in trouble. Others look as if they'd been out in the holiday traffic between Rome and the sea. Near the top of the Radicofani Pass, crowds have been waiting since early morning for the first cars to arrive. And it's number 6, Provasso's French Dina Panhard. An ordinary saloon with a tiny 750cc engine. Third at Rome with barely 1 minute between the first 3 cars in the 750 touring class. Closing up is the leader of the faster 750 sports class, Tuzo and Persillon in the DB. The Dina Panhard seemed to be swamping all opposition, but here's 82, the baby Renault of Angelelli, taking the lead. Ferrari has broken every record with an average speed of well over 100 miles an hour for the first 180 miles. Peter Collins, Mike Keane and their Aston Martin are being refueled. Fast enough to be well in the picture. Fangio with the first of the new Alfas, a little slower than Marzotto's Ferrari. Kling, a fraction faster than Fangio. And it is an Alfa driven by Sanesi that is fastest to Ravenna, with a Ferrari driven by Farina in second place. Bracco, 7.5 minutes slower than Sanesi's Alfa, gives strong Ferrari support. Rossolini is going steadily, although Tom Cole is about to pass him. He's about 15 minutes behind the leaders. Although the Aston Martin is stationary, the experienced Parnell isn't wasting a second. The pace is telling. All round the circuit there are cars in trouble, and many of the fastest cars are already out. Hawthorne, Johnson, Moss, Taruffi, Villaresi and Wisdom, all have retired. At Pescara, some of the 2-litre sports cars are now refueling. One of the new Maseratis, driven by Musso, is setting a terrific pace and already leads its class by 7 minutes. Now Cortese looks a little less English on this Sunday morning. 60 miles on, Aquila, and the Oscars lead in the 1100 sports car. There's 20 minutes between Venezian's leading Oscar and the Fiat Armini of Brandy. Rome, and an Alfa Romeo saloon is the first of the 2-litre touring class to arrive. There are 185 cars in this class alone. 185 moderate-sized saloon cars having a magnificent race amongst themselves. Stagnoli started at 2:30, long after anyone who has reached Rome so far. But there's no time to lose, for Palmieri, who left at 3:22, is racing through the field and putting up the fastest time of the whole class. In the 1300 touring class, there are 120 of these little Fiat 1100 saloons. Another evenly matched struggle between ordinary saloon cars with a premium on driving skill. Here are the Mancinis, who led the whole way and won by just 15 seconds from Serena and Piccolo in a similar Fiat 1100. Cars with a top speed of little more than 80, which average over 65 for the whole 1,000 miles. The castle of Radicofani and the old customs houses between the Vatican States and Tuscany are left behind as the route goes on to Siena. 140 miles from Rome, Siena, with its 13th century cathedral where Richard Wagner composed, now echoes to a different sound. The police play a big part in running the race and wave the little cars on as they leave for the north. But now the unlimited sports, the fastest cars of all, are arriving at Pescara. All records fly as Giannino Marzotto's Ferrari is checked in. And here's the first of the Alfas, just 31 seconds faster than the Ferrari. Another Alfa, Kling, even faster than Fangio by 47 seconds. A Ferrari is 5 minutes faster still, Farina. Fastest British car, Peter Collins' Aston. Fastest of all, Sanese's Alfa, nearly 5 minutes faster than Farina, a new record of 109 miles an hour from Brescia to Pescara. Another Ferrari, Tom Cole. He's going to refuel. Reg Parnell. All British hopes of a place now rest on the Aston Martins. The Tony Rolls car, the last of the Jaguars, is out. The 2-litre sports cars have reached Aquila, and it is now a complete triumph for the new Maseratis, with Musso in first place. And not far behind is Mantovani. Giletti eventually won the class at an average of over 80 for the whole race. The 2 litres are now being caught up by the fastest cars. Sanesi is out, but Alfa's still lead. Fangio's in second place. And just behind is Kling, fastest of all by 50 seconds. Bracco is now fourth. And this is our Ferrari, with the Aston of George Abacassis just behind. Paul Frere's Chrysler leads the unlimited touring cars at Rome, and its vast comfort spreads an air of leisure over the control. Yes, it is Ingrid Bergman waiting for Rossellini. Nearly 100 miles beyond Rome, the battle for the 2-litre touring class is on. Stagnone's Alfa in second place. Faster than any comes Palmieri. And 20 minutes behind is Pagliari, the eventual winner. And here's Stagnoli being passed by a Fiat 1100. But the Alfa gets off again to finish second. The outstanding performance was put up by Palmieri, for he led the largest class by nearly half an hour, only to have the car put out by mechanical trouble on the very last stage. And on goes the race, with hundreds and hundreds of different cars of all sorts and sizes battling it out all over Italy. The smallest cars now reaching up from Siena to Florence. French cars are leading in both the sports and touring classes as they leave on the next 65-mile stretch to Bologna. Bologna, with the oldest university in Europe and famed for its good living. The winner of the 750 touring class is here, a baby Renault. A Fiat makes an heroic effort to finish. And this is the last control before Brescia, and many cars have a final fill-up and check over. The last 140 miles form one of the fastest sections of the whole circuit, and lead back across the plains of Lombardy to Brescia, where all are waiting for the first car to arrive. And way ahead of every other car by nearly half an hour comes a little French DB, Dina Panard. Persillon and Touzeau have driven for over 14 hours and averaged 66 miles an hour. Dina Panard's saloon is the first of the 750 touring cars to arrive, but Angelelli's Renault won the class. And he has the battered Fiat not only finishing, but in 6th place. The crowds at Rome wait as the battle for outright victory draws closer. The Ferrari of Giannino Marzotto has covered the first 500 miles at over 95 miles an hour. It's difficult for an early starter to know if he's going fast enough to hold the cars behind him, but Giannino knows that he will need everything to get the lead from the Alfas. Another Ferrari. It's Paolo Marzotto. The Alfas still lead. Fangio's gained 3 minutes more over Giannino's Ferrari. And as Fangio pulls up to the Alfa pits to refuel, another Alfa arrives. Kling is fastest of all by 40 seconds. Alfas are first and second at Rome. Here's Fangio, but it is Kling who leads, trying for the second year running to disprove Biondetti's proverb. He who leads at Rome can never win the Mille Miglia at Brescia. Somebody's been trying. It's Peter Collins. Another Ferrari. Bracco is fourth. Bracco is now heading towards the mountains where last year he took the lead to win. A new Lancia, Veneto, fifth. Parnell, delayed by some straw bales, but that hasn't stopped him. He and Collins are now both in the first 10. And here's our Ferrari, still ahead of Rossellini's. Another Aston with George Abacassis is just 2.5 minutes faster than Biondetti's Lancia. Rossellini has arrived. Rossellini retires at Rome, but we head north. All the way, the crowds line the road as we try to steady our camera against the bumps. And here's a lorry. And that's George Abacassis. It may take pluck to drive in the Mille Miglia, but that seems nothing to the pluck shown by many thousands of spectators. Biondetti says, it is necessary to have the courage to drive slowly. Here is Biondetti, but perhaps he doesn't include himself. We've been having a private race with this Nardi since early this morning, but it is the fight between the Alfas and the Ferraris for outright victory on which all attention is now focused. The Alfa Romeo Fangio leads. Kling is out and Fangio has taken his place. The fastest car still in the race has now nearly caught up with the Ferrari of Paolo Marzotto, which left Brescia 19 minutes before the Alfa and is now less than 2 minutes ahead. 17 minutes have been lost, but his speed is high enough to make Paolo one of the best remaining Ferrari hopes of a win. For anything can happen to the leaders in this race, and there are nearly 300 miles yet to go. And here comes the leading Ferrari, Giannino Marzotto, now in second place. His brother Paolo's Ferrari is just behind. Fangio's Alfa, still fastest of all. The Ferrari is climbing. Paolo Marzotto is now up in third place with his Ferrari. The Alfa Romeo is here. Fangio's trying hard, but he won't know if he's going fast enough to hold his 4-minute lead until he arrives at Siena control. Another Ferrari is coming through the field. Tom Cole has passed Peter Collins. Something must have happened. The Aston Martin was up in 7th place and has now lost some 20 minutes. A bad blow to British hopes. More at home in the mountains than any other driver, Biondetti, still holder of the record for the Futa crossing. And now let's get up to the next control point at Siena. The Ferraris of Giannino and Paolo Marzotto have checked out before the Alfa arrives, and Fangio's lead has been cut from 4 minutes to less than 2. There is less than 2 minutes between the Alfa and the Ferrari. Veneto is holding 4th place with a Lancia, Parnell's Aston and Biondetti not far behind. And there's George Abacassis' Aston. One of the many standard Lancia Aurelia saloons is leaving Siena and moving on across the hills towards Florence. There's little chance to relax on this section, even if you've been up most of the night, where it is only too easy to go into one of these corners too fast. And on the other hand, if you get too cautious, you lose seconds that soon pile up into minutes. By now, the Ferrari is reaching Florence control. A wonderful drive, but has Giannino made up those 2 more minutes? No, the Alfa's answered the challenge, gaining 4 seconds more lead and passing Paolo. Poor Musso. Bonetto leaves, still 4th. Peter Collins stands little chance now of making up that lost 20 minutes. Tough luck after a brilliant early drive. And here's a surprise. Reg Parnell. His Aston's come right up into 6th place, passing Tom Cole. But Tom gets away first. Beyond Florence is the Futa Pass over the Apennines, the last great obstacle before Bologna. And close behind Lancia comes the Ferrari. The last chance for Giannino Marzotto to use his knowledge of the mountains to gain those 2 vital minutes. Fangio also knows there's not a second to spare if the Alfa is to stay in 1st place. Bologna, and the Ferrari has broken the record for crossing the Futa, a record that has stood since Biondetti made it in 1938. But there's no time to spare. Giannino waves to his pit as he pulls up to refuel for the last time. But the Alfa's not here, and the 2 minutes are nearly up. And the Ferrari leads. And it's the Alfa. Fangio's had trouble with the steering and has now dropped 3 minutes behind the Ferrari. Can he make up the 3 minutes? More important, is it safe to go on? Fangio is continuing the race. And here's Paolo Marzotto. His 3rd place looks certain, but soon after this the car caught fire and was completely burnt out. And away goes Bonetto. The throttle control is gone, and Reg Parnell has fixed it wide open and is driving on the ignition switch. And the news has come through to Brescia that the Ferrari now leads. And here comes Giannino Marzotto to win the 20th Mille Miglia. And there's news of the Alfa. It's passed through Piacenza at a tremendous speed, but people say the car appears to be steering with only 1 wheel, and it's starting to rain. And here he is, the Alfa, less than 12 minutes behind Marzotto. Bonetto brings his Lancia in 3rd. Tom Cole's Ferrari, 4th. And here's Reg Parnell's Aston, 5th. Biondetti has stopped just 2.5 miles from the finish. What cruel luck. Paul Frere's Chrysler wins the Unlimited Touring. But here is Biondetti. He gives flowers to Reg Parnell as the well-deserved congratulations continue. Fangio may not have won, but it's taken more than genius for him to finish in 2nd place. To drive from Bologna with faulty steering at a speed only slightly slower than the winners took great courage. Full honour to Giannino Marzotto, winner of the 20th Mille Miglia. He, above all, has proved both his courage and skill. For it is a terrific thing to win, when even to finish the Mille Miglia is something of which any driver can be proud.